Hi, welcome to the Small Shed. This Saturday we're back mending toys again. See you in a minute. Right, we've just come back from our first chance to go and see the grandchildren since last October. Spent the day in the garden round a fire pit in the very nice weather that we had for the 1 or 2 days in beginning of April. I've got, as usual, a little repair to do when we come back. We have presumably a Christmas present, I don't know. Woody, from Toy Story, his car, remote controlled, and unfortunately at the moment it's only got wheels working in one direction, so we need to sort that out. I think it's just a little bit, and what's happened is the little track rod in, the sort of ends of the axles there, one of them is broken, so we're getting close. Have a look and see what we can do to repair this. It's very much the usual thing. If this was going in the bin, if I can't do anything with it because you're not going to be able to get the bits for it, but there's just a little stub axle there, and what it should have is an arm off it, which then has a little pin that goes into the steering servo, and that's got broken. So I think what I'm going to do is, rather than try and mend a plastic part that's fairly brittle in the first place, it shouldn't be, he said, hopefully, too much difficulty to make a new stub axle in brass, and we can then build into that or solder onto it an arm that we can make it all work. And what I'll probably do is take the whole front end apart so that I can use the opposite one as something to measure from and get all the details that I need to with regard to lengths and diameters. Using a normal motor for the steering rather than a servo motor, so there's no doubt some sort of a gearbox in the middle there, but we'll just gently, if we can, take these axles out without disturbing any of that. Okay, now the axle is attached to the wheel. Looks like it's just on a metal pin, which I'm assuming will just come out with a pair of pliers. So that's probably next thing, because if I can't get that out easily, it means we're struggling. But you can see the difference there between a good one that works and a broken one. That doesn't want to play ball. I wonder if they're actually sealed in. Let's see. Maybe that the wheel is moulded around them, in which case I'm hampered even more with what I can do. Time for a rethink, I think. I think these are, I think this has got like that shaped end on both ends, and the other end is melted or has been set within this wheel. I think the only thing I can do is to try and get rid of the part at the end of this axle that's stopping this piece sliding off. There's like an end on it that's moulded, cast into it. If I can effectively file that down to the same diameter as the axle, that means I can take these pieces off and then perhaps either drill it and put a bolt with a washer on it when I come to reassemble it, or something like that. I'm just going to have a gentle dabble with the little finger sander I've got and see if I can just take the end off this. That's it. So that's kept the maximum length of axle that I could. Just been up into the workroom and dug out my box of brass bits and pieces and some small nuts and bolts. They're up there as well, which I might need. I've got some half round strip which is probably going to be ideal to make the arms out of that come out the side, because there's quite a bit of strength in the middle. It being half round, it's quite thick, and I can drill it to put the vertical pin in and solder that in. That'll be quite strong. It's slightly complicated by the fact that that rod is coming in on pretty much the same plane as the axle is being drilled through as well, so it becomes quite a nasty sort of little joint there that there's not a lot of meat on anything. But we'll have a go with one first, just get the lathe out, try it, see how it works, and if it comes out okay. As I say, once they're done, there's so little strength required in any of these. It's just obviously they get stamped on and all sorts, so it needs to be reasonably strong for that. But we'll have a go with these bits anyway. For anyone who says, oh, it's alright for you, you've got a lathe, you can do all these things, it's perfectly possible, as you can see there. With a couple of drills, I started with a 2mm and I've just opened it out to a 3mm to drill through a piece of the brass rod, and that should take the axles. That's it. So you can do it, and there's nothing to stop you now cutting that piece down and putting it in a drill chuck and filing the ends down. I mean, I will use the lathe for that, but it is perfectly possible to do all of these things. I've just done the same sort of job on the parts that are the arms that stick out on the side of this thing, and again I've just drilled it on the bench with a 2mm drill, and that rod will fit into there, and I can get that now soldered up, cut to shape, ready to attach to that piece once I've got that piece made. So it is possible to do most of these things without fancy equipment. Right, that's got effectively the two track control steering arms, whatever they are, one at each end of this bit of material. I've trimmed the ends and rounded them off so they'll actually fit into that piece there, and then attached to the vertical steering parts that hold the axle. I've got to cut those next, and I'll leave these ends to be trimmed. Just done a test piece on joining that steering rod to the axle, to the vertical steering part, and soldering, just cutting a notch and soldering it is going to be strong enough. That's fine, that's not going to be a problem, I don't think. Right, I've got two brass pieces turned to pretty much the same size as the original in terms of the distance apart of the swivels and the diameter of the swivels. All I've got to do now, I'll try them on just to make sure they're okay, and then all I've got to do is attach the arms to them. That's the trial fit. They both swivel okay, they both fit okay. So I've cut a little groove in the side of the pin, and we'll see if we can get it to work. And as I say, once that one's done, I can just turn the jig upside down. It's gone. Solder's dropped into there okay. Let that cool down and done. Right, just putting it back together now. We'll see if it's functioning properly. Get all the bits attached. See if that power works okay. That tyre's not quite on properly. I thought it was the axle that was bent, but it's the tyre's not on properly. Yeah, and we're steering okay. I think the best thing to do now is take it outside and see if it works, because it's not really the ideal place to be trying to use it in here. Take it outside and have a look. Right, once again we seem to have managed to get something working again that wasn't. Given it's taken a day and a half, these things aren't usually viable unless you've got somebody like me with time on their hands, but once again we've saved something from the scrap heap, so it might last for a week or two knowing kids, but it won't last that long, I'm sure. Hope it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week when we'll be either mending or making something different. I'll see you then. Bye!